Because of the way this program copies and pastes, it gets rid of indents. So let's just assume that your classmates all indented. But what we're going to do today is we're going to take a look at some paragraphs and we are going to decide how well these are written. So let's start with the first sentence. Marguerite is disrespectful. If that is a correct topic sentence, it should be a nice, broad kind of umbrella statement that everything fits underneath. So, question, is that a broad statement? Yes, it is. So we're doing good there. Does it match everything in the paragraph? We don't know yet, hopefully. But that does seem to be at least the start of a good topic sentence. So the second thing we have, Marguerite's lack of kindness can be shown by how she treats her husband. This hopefully should be a claim. A claim should be an opinion. It should be something that is based on the reading. So if you go telling me as your opinion that Percy is ugly, that's not going to work. The reading doesn't support it. And it should fit under the topic sentence. Does the claim that her lack of kindness can be shown by how she treats her husband, does that fit under her being disrespectful? Clearly it does. So that seems to be a good claim. So the next thing we have, during Sir Percy's initial introduction, the author talks about how he's too stupid to notice the ridicule with which his wife covered him, and that his fate was his own making when he married Marguerite. Hopefully this is evidence. If this is good evidence, then what we're going to see is that it is specific, it is embedded, it is cited, and most importantly, it supports the claim. So let's take a look. It's specific. I see that he is too stupid to notice the ridicule that his wife is covering him in, that he kind of deserves this. So yeah, that seems specific. It's embedded, meaning that there are these little bits and fragments of quotes inside the student's own work. Yep, it is embedded. It is cited. Mostly. When you cite, you don't include titles or first names. It should only be last names, so it should only be Orsi. And the second issue, the only thing that you would normally put in here would be a page number, but that would be only if you're looking at something in print. This is not on page 6 of a printed book. This is a web source, so you should not have any page numbers at all. So it should just be Orsi. And does it support the claim? Do these facts show that she is treating her husband unkindly? Well, yeah, that does seem to be the case. So is this good evidence? Pretty much it would seem to be good evidence. Needs a little tweaking on the citation, but that's an easy fix. So next we have, this all suggests that Marguerite is taking advantage of Percy's foolishness to take shots at him, and he doesn't even realize it. It pretty much constitutes unhealthy relationships where one party verbally abuses the other and manipulates them. Relationships like those can take a toll on the victim's mental health and can lower their self-esteem and even lead to depression. That's why the way Marguerite treats her husband is so problematic. So what is that? Hopefully you said that was commentary. If it's correct commentary, we're going to see a couple of things. We're going to see, first of all, a reasoning. First, I see they can take a toll. They can lower self-esteem. So we're talking about things that are coming in the future. So we're looking at a cause and effect or a prediction. So I can identify a form of reasoning. Second, I should have a return to the claim or even a return to the topic sentence. But I need to do something to go back to this opening up here. So do I have words that go back to disrespectful or lack of kindness? Well, look there. I do, in fact, see words that take me back to that opening topic and claim. So I do have a return to those ideas in the beginning. So what do I have right here in blue? But that's not all. Hopefully you identified that as a transition. Now, is it great transition? Not really, because it's not telling me the relationship between this first argument up here and this second argument down there. And I would like a transition to tell me what relationships are. So I would prefer something like more importantly, more significantly, later in the book, this is what it turned into. But that's not all, is not really giving me relationships. However, I do have a transition there, so that does work. So what do we see next? Marguerite's lack of respect for others less fortunate than her can be made clear when she makes her first appearance. Well, is that another claim? Let's check it. Is it an opinion? Yeah, that she's mean to people of lower social classes. That is an opinion. Is it a reasonable opinion based off the reading? Well, yeah, she kind of does treat people a little meanly. Does it fit under the topic sentence that she is disrespectful? Yes. So this claim does in fact fit. And now you can see that claim number 1 and claim number 2 are two different ways that this topic sentence is true. She is disrespectful. Why do you say that? Because of how she treats her husband. Why else do you say that? Because of how she treats others who are sort of below her in social class. So that's the relationship between the claim and the topic sentence. So that really is good. So let's see what we have next. She calls Jellyband a turkey with a sore foot and pushes him aside when entering the inn, and she also mocks Comtesse after she prevents Suzanne from talking to her, mostly because of when Marguerite had gotten the Marquis de Saint-Cyr arrested and executed. So, what part of the paragraph is this? Yep, this is evidence. What are the rules that we use to check for whether something is good evidence? Okay, well, let's go through those. First, is it specific? Well, I see a specific name. I see a specific quote. I see a specific person that's talking about a specific event in the past. So, yep, it's specific. Do you have quotes that are embedded? Oh, yeah. Absolutely, I do. Do you have evidence that supports the claim? Is this her showing respect for people who are less fortunate? Yep, I would argue it does. And finally, is the citation correct? Womp womp. Couple of problems here. First of all, don't put in titles or first names. Only put page numbers if you're looking at a print source. And what is this period doing here? This period should be at the end. So, need some help on the citation. The rest of this is quite good. So, let's see what we have next. Okay, so we have, sure, the circumstances may have made her actions justified from her point of view. However, she could have been more polite when asking Jellyband to move out of the way. She also could have taken the Comtesse's remark with a grain of salt and not mocked her. Yeah, missed a need either. In this case, however, she didn't do that. So, is that good commentary? Well, you have to ask yourself, do you have R&R? So, do you have a type of reasoning? Let's put a semicolon there instead of a comma. Yeah, you do. This is really contrast. You're saying, look, she could have just ignored it. She chose not to. So you're contrasting against something that didn't happen. Do you have a return to the claim or even a return back to the topic sentence in the very beginning? Well, I see that she could have been more polite. She could have not mocked her. These things do seem to be disrespectful. They do seem to be showing a lack of respect. So that does work. Could it be a little stronger? Yes, but overall, I would say that is a good, solid return to that topic sentence and the claim. So, very last thing we have in this paper. Her first impression certainly wasn't the best. It only allowed us to see one of Marguerite's fallible traits, her lack of consideration of the feeling of others. So, That should be a semicolon. That should be a colon. Don't use first person. Never use the I, me, us, we, our. However, with some few changes there, what is this? Okay, hopefully you recognize this is closure. Now, if this is closure, this really should be a mic drop moment. It should go back to the ideas in the topic sentence, but it should be stronger. So, what is the idea in the topic sentence we're playing with? Disrespectful. Does this topic sentence go back to the idea of disrespectful? Wasn't the best. Fallible. Lack of consideration. Okay, lack of consideration is where you really have that strong tie to disrespectful. The second thing is it should be stronger. Is it stronger? Well, we have certainly. We have the idea that she's fallible, which is a stronger word than any of the words that we have up in this topic sentence. So I would say yes, that closure is good. So what is the exact pattern of what I should see in a paragraph? I should see a topic sentence. I should see two arguments, and each of those arguments would include a claim, evidence, and commentary. Between them, I would see a transition, and then I would see a strong closure at the end. This paragraph has some minor corrections that need to be made to kind of clean it up a little bit. But overall, I would say this is a very strong paragraph. And this is definitely what I would like to see all of you guys doing, because this is an A. Okay, are you guys ready to look at your next paragraph? Okay, our first sentence is actually two different things. So let's take a look at them individually. Marguerite is foolish. What is that? Yep, that is your topic sentence. Now, that topic sentence is actually attached to the next sentence. She almost let the French Comtesse rile her. What is that? Okay, that is trying to act like a claim. I'm a little concerned that it doesn't seem to be strongly opinion-based. So I would like to have a little bit more, maybe something like Marguerite is foolish when she stupidly allows the French Comtesse to rile her. By getting that idea of stupidly in there, it would tie it more clearly that this does in fact fit under foolish. Right now, it's a little questionable. So let's take a look at the next bit. The Comtesse agitated Marguerite by telling Suzanne, I forbid you to speak to that woman. What is that? Okay, that is evidence. Now, let's talk about this. Evidence. Question number 1. Most important, does that support the claim? Does that show her letting the French Comtesse rile her? It doesn't. I'm not quite sure why this is here, but let's keep reading. But Marguerite's great pride of herself did not let this childish act made by the Comtesse affect her. She made fun of the way the Comtesse ordered her daughter around. Okay, now I'm seeing that her reaction, that she's making fun of the Comtesse, but that still doesn't support the fact that the Comtesse riled her. So I'm not sure that I'm actually supporting the claim. But let's keep going. Next question. Do I have correctly embedded evidence? Yeah, I actually don't, because what we have here is a full sentence. That's not embedding. Do I have correct citation? Almost. The period should be at the end, not before the citation, but this citation is certainly better than we had before. Do I have specifics? Yeah, I see specific names going on here. I do have a quote. So there are some good things here. But what I really need to focus here is this idea of her almost getting riled, and hopefully the idea that being a little foolish to let somebody rile her. So this really, the quote should not focus on what the Comtesse does. The quote should focus on Marguerite's foolishness in getting upset. So evidence is a little problematic, but let's take a look at the next bit. Her sense of humor made the people in the room start to laugh. This shows that even if she let the Comtesse rile her, Marguerite can stand back up and act like nothing has happened. This is commentary. If it is correct commentary, I'm going to see an R in R. First of all, what does that first R stand for? A type of reasoning. So do I have a type of reasoning? Well, I think that we're looking at cause and effect, because we're looking at the effects of this, that she is standing back up, that she's making people laugh. So that certainly, I do see some reasoning. Second, what am I looking for? Yep, return to the topic. So if we have a return to the topic, we're going to be looking at foolishness. We're going to be looking at getting upset, being riled. So do I have that? Well, I do have this, even if she let the Comtesse rile her. So I do have a bit of a return here, but do I really see her getting riled? I actually don't. So the commentary here is attempting to return to that idea of her getting upset, but I don't see her getting upset in the evidence. So that logic is starting to fall apart a little bit. You have to be really careful with high school writing that you are being very, very logical. So you have a claim. That claim is very closely supported by the evidence. That evidence proves that the claim is true. And then that commentary has to really closely tie to the evidence in addition to tying back to that claim. You have to pull all three of these together into one strong argument. And here, the logic is just missing a little bit. So this is a little bit problematic. But let us keep reading. Okay, we have even more foolish. Ding, ding, ding. What is that? That is a transition, and that is actually a very good transition that makes me happy. So, even more foolish, Marguerite did not have a single touch of embarrassment in her manner when approaching the Comtesse. Okay, that should be, I crossed that out instead of, sorry, I grabbed the wrong pen. So, let me grab my highlighter instead. Marguerite did not have a single touch of embarrassment in her manner when approaching the Comtesse. That really is an opinion, and it should be, because this should be my claim setting up a new argument. But that's definitely not factual that she didn't have a touch of embarrassment. That's the reader's assumption, so it is evidence, or it is opinion. But I then see that that is cited as if this were a fact that happened in the story. And that's not true, because we do see her hand shaking, which a reader could interpret as, well, that's embarrassment, that's being upset. So you really can't cite that as fact when it's not factual. So, little bit of a problem there, but let's assume that that's going to act like an opinion, that that's going to be a claim, that she doesn't have a touch of embarrassment. Let's see what we now have. She should have still shown a little respect to the Comtesse after her contribution to the French downfall. I changed that to yellow highlighting because really that is acting like commentary. It's contrast reasoning because it's telling me what should have happened but what really didn't happen. Instead, she went up to both Suzanne and the Comtesse with enthusiasm, acting as if she did not contribute with the French downfall. And so that is now acting like evidence. But is that really foolish? Because everything is supposed to fit under foolish. And then we have our closure. This shows that her beauty justifies her foolishness. And now I have to ask, where did beauty come from? Because we do have that return to the topic sentence, but I don't have an intensifier word. So I should see something like, this definitely shows that despite her good qualities, comma, Marguerite is definitely foolish, period. That would make sense. But here it just feels like we've got beauty that's kind of dropped in here. So overall, this paragraph has a lot more problems to it. And the biggest problem in this paragraph is that it is not focused on what it should be focused on. And that is what we see in the topic sentence. It says up front that it's going to prove that she is foolish. And yet when I look in these arguments, I don't see Marguerite being foolish. That's a problem. Okay, let's take a look at the next paragraph. Sir Percy and Marguerite are polar opposites. Oh, we have a problem right off the front with our topic sentence. What is our problem? Yeah, the problem here really is that a topic sentence should be a broad umbrella. And then we're going to be able to fit two different arguments under that. So here's my umbrella. See, aren't I a good drawer? So, and then I should have argument 1 and argument 2. And each of these two arguments should prove the same thing. So, if you are trying to prove that Marguerite is rude, if that's your umbrella, then underneath you would have she's rude to Percy, and you would say that she is rude to others. Each of those arguments fits under that idea of she is rude in general. Here's a problem, though. Sir Percy and Marguerite are polar opposites. I don't have one umbrella. I've got two. I've got, we're going to do Sir Percy and we're going to do Marguerite. And in the first paragraph we looked at, we were under one topic, the idea of rude. In the second body paragraph we looked at, they struggled a little bit with the execution of the actual arguments, but you could see that there was one clear umbrella. And that one clear umbrella was that Marguerite was foolish. But here, I've got Sir Percy, I've got Marguerite, and when you say polar opposites, I don't actually know what you're going to be trying to prove. Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? So instead of having one clear idea, I already am feeling like I'm getting pulled in umpteen different directions. And if you look at the body paragraph, that is actually what I have in the paragraph. So I'm kind of bouncing back and forth. You know, Percy is stupid, but Marguerite is a saint. But then Marguerite has a bad temper and gets riled. Percy is calm and analyzes. Marguerite thinks she's better. She acts like she deserves more respect. She likes to call her spouse names. She is disrespectful. So I don't have one umbrella. I have got, with Percy, he's stupid, he's calm, he analyzes things. I've got with Marguerite, she's a saint, she's bad-tempered, that she's arrogant. So I have like 6 or 7 different ideas going on that umbrella, which is why this paragraph falls apart a bit. Make sense? Okay, in your own words, what is the biggest problem with this paragraph? Okay, are you ready for another paragraph? By the way, These are all paragraphs from your classmates. So some of you did quite well, some of you are struggling, and that's okay. It's not a race. You don't have to be the first one to figure out how to do it correctly. You just have to figure out how to do it correctly. So let's take a look at this one. Marguerite is hurt. What is it? Okay, excellent. That is a topic sentence. If it is a correct topic sentence, what would we compare it to? I hope you said that should be compared to an umbrella, where you can have your two arguments that fit neatly underneath. Next up, she displays that when she is injured when interacting with other people. What is that? Yep, that is a claim. Now, if it is a claim, what should it be related to? Yeah, it should be related to that topic. Either why is that topic sentence true? How is it shown? And this really is. So she is hurt. Well, how do you know she's hurt? She's displaying it when she interacts with other people. The other thing is a claim should be an opinion, and this is an opinion because there were lots of people that when we were back in chapters 5 and 6 pretty much hated Marguerite because of how she came off. So this is definitely an opinion-based claim. So let's take a look at the next thing. When she is insulted in the inn, sorry, my pen got stuck. In the end, by the woman who's in possession of Suzanne, the Comtesse de Tournai, who says, "I forbid you to speak to that woman." When this happens, she turns a ghostly white, and her grip on her tall beribboned stick trembles. What is that? Yep, that is your evidence. If it is evidence, what are some of the rules? Hopefully you came up with some of these. It needs to be specific, embedded, cited, and it needs to support the claim. So let's start up the top. Is this specific? Yes, it is. I've got specific names. I've got specific quotes. So, yep. Next, is it embedded? Yep. You have this embedded quote here, Comtesse de Tournai. You also have tall beribboned stick, which is embedded, and those are slipped inside the student's own words. Excellent. Is it cited and cited correctly? Yes, this is exactly what a citation should look like. And finally, does this support the claim? So we looked at one where the logic kind of fell apart. So you tell me, does this show that she is displaying this sort of wounded side when she's interacting with other people? Hopefully you said that it does. The logic here is actually quite strong. So let's take a look at the next section. If she wasn't mentally wounded, she would have brushed this off as criticism and ignored it. She didn't do that, which shows that something malevolent had previously happened to her. What is that? Yep, that is commentary. If it is commentary, you should have two things that you are judging it by. What are those two things? Reasoning and a return to the topic or the claim. And you can see that the topic and the claim should actually be rather similar because they should be focused on the same thing. So, do I have a type of reasoning? Yes? Good. Then tell me what type of reasoning it is. Yep, if this weren't true. But that's not what happened. So we're contrasting it. What could have happened but didn't. So that is in fact contrast. Do I have a return to the topic? Yes. She's wounded, and that goes back straight back to hurt. So I do have strong commentary here. What do I see with furthermore? Yep, that is a transition. Not the strongest transition I've seen, but it certainly does work. So, when the French spy Chauvelin arrives in the theater to speak to Marguerite about convincing her to help him, she tries her best to pretend he didn't get to her and that she doesn't care about what he is saying. You actually have two different parts of a paragraph here. They're kind of getting pushed together. And sometimes this happens in that second argument. It's almost like you get tired and things get a little loose. But I want you to look at this beautiful first argument, and I want you to tell me, how is this section not as clean as this section up here? Hopefully you identified that you really have here two different things. She is trying to pretend he didn't get to her. That is actually your second claim, and it's a really strong claim, but it's kind of buried under some of these facts, which is why you then have them cited. Now, the problem with doing that, with kind of burying your claim in the middle of evidence, is that if a reader is reading fast, that claim can get lost. And since good writing really is supposed to be about your opinions and your voice and you expressing your point of view, if the claim gets lost, that really is going to significantly weaken the argument overall. So I would like to see this evidence pulled out of this sentence and let that claim stand on its own so that it really stands out and that this paragraph puts the opinion forward. Okay? Make sense? When she starts talking, I just gave Chauvelin a sex change. When he starts talking about Marguerite's brother, she is clearly concerned for his safety, but she still tries her best to pretend not to care. What do you think? Yeah, that is evidence. Now, if it is evidence, you know that you're looking for some pretty specific things. So right now, you take a look at this evidence and you tell me something that's really well done. Okay, you could say that the citation is correct, but you could also point out that you've got some specific with Marguerite's brothers. However, do you have some problems? Yes, you should not have that period in front. You also don't have any embedded quotes in there. You can certainly have summarized evidence, but the other thing is, I really don't have a lot of specifics. Now, what I might want to do is pull some of these specifics up here and pull them down into this to make this part stronger. Okay, so you ready to move on to the next section? She tries to negate, nice word. She tries to negate some of what Chauvelin tells her, but is ultimately unsuccessful. This is a result of the fact that the siblings, Armand and Marguerite, grew up with only each other to rely on as both of their parents died when they were young. Again, I will tell you that this has two different sections that are kind of pushed together. What two parts of a paragraph are put in there? As a reminder, what are the parts of a paragraph? Okay, that is topic sentence, claim, evidence, commentary. Those three together make your argument number one. You then have a transition. Then you have claim, evidence, commentary. Those three together make up argument two. You then have closure, which should be your mic drop moment, where you've got a closing transition. You've got some word to make it more intense. But this section that I just showed you in here, you have two of these types of sentences from a paragraph that are put together. What are the two? Okay, so this is the result, tells me that we are attempting to go for cause and effect commentary. And it certainly starts with this cause and effect commentary, that it is what negates that attempt, or that what negates her ability to stand up is that she is unsuccessful as a result of the fact that they only grew up with each other. But then you drop into evidence. So this would be stronger if this right here were just gone. Make sense? Okay, as a result, Marguerite, despite her efforts to appear as not, is injured on the inside. What is that? Yep, that is closure. And I really like this closure. We have a closing transition as a result. It does feel more significant than the topic sentence. So I would like an intensifier word in there, but it certainly still feels like a little bit of a mic drop moment. And you go right back to that topic. And if you notice, this whole paragraph is very, very focused on that idea of being hurt. Hurt is the umbrella that the topic sentence sets up. And both of those two arguments, the first one about when she's interacting with other people, the second one when she's confronted with Chauvelin, both of them go to show that she is in fact hurt, even if she doesn't want to show it. So the logic here is really stronger. I had hoped to go through more paragraphs, but I think I have talked at you enough. Hopefully, you guys are getting a sense of what a body paragraph should and shouldn't do. Some of you got yourselves in trouble because you were too seduced by facts. I got paragraphs where you just told me fact, 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 fact. Some of you are in a little bit of trouble because your logic isn't holding up. Your claim, your evidence, and your commentary all have to work together to support that topic sentence. And I showed you a paragraph where the logic fell apart a little bit. And some of you, in fact, a lot of you, most of you, are doing a really awesome job of really switching into writing that is very logical and that is supporting your claims. So thank you guys for that. Hopefully this helps you with really nailing down what you need to be able to do with a paragraph, because you know I'm not done making you right.